much for following up on this and getting this going. We appreciate it. I mean, I know it's been, as you mentioned, it's been in the works quite a while. We appreciate where you are with it now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, item 2.10, work session and vote on proposed amendments 2016 draft comprehensive plan. If our presenter would please state his name and title for the record.
Steve Ball, Planning Director with Charles County.
Okay, Mr. Ball, just a moment, please. Madam Clerk, would you like to, just before we get started, talk about what this process is going to be and how we're going to go through this, please?
Sure. So in your board docs and for the viewing public, there is a list included with Mr. Ball's memo under public content. That list is all of the proposed amendments that have been proposed throughout the course of the work sessions, June 7th, 14th, 21st. They're all here listed. And so the intention for today is that I would go down that list and that I would ask if there's a motion to actually incorporate these proposed amendments into the comp plan. If there is no motion, then obviously that there will be no vote on that proposed amendment. It's not included in the plan. If there is a motion and it's seconded, we'll take the vote, and depending on the outcome, that will then become an amendment to the plan, which Mr. Ball will present on the July 12th date for your final approval of the full plan, if that makes sense.
And you may have said this, if you did, I apologize. But also, what we have before us are proposed amendments that have already been submitted. But if any commissioner today wants to make a proposed amendment, I believe that's where we will begin. And then that will be added to the bottom of this list that we already have before us, right?
That is correct. So I believe Mr. Ball has some items that he'd like to go over, so we can do that, and then I would say open it up to any other proposals that people would like to make that are not included at this time.
That's perfect.
And they'll become newly numbered at the end of our ongoing list. So starting with number 25 would be today.
Okay, and at that point we'll go ahead and start the process of voting. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, I don't have a slide presentation, but we have the slides from the last hearing, work session. So if there's any particular map you want to look at. The one thing I did want to point out is I posted yesterday some clarification information on your board docs regarding the Watershed Conservation District boundary, including all of the stream valleys. So and there's some maps associated with that have been posted, and there's also some clarifying language on the rate of growth issue. Aside from that, we're willing to discuss any issue or answer your questions.
Are there any questions right now, Mr. Ball? Any comments of Mr. Ball at this point? Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Clerk.
So are there any additional proposed amendments to be included in our consolidated list of amendments?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Davis?
I think it's important first to just weigh in on what on the process for myself, and I want to make it clear for myself about the whole comprehensive plan process and my position regarding that. And for the public, I just think it's important to realize that this whole planning process has taken 6 years. And during that time, there have been a number. I asked the Planning Commission for a summary. There have been 14 meetings starting as early as February 28, 2011. There have been 11 experts, 9 experts who participated, including Mr. Daniels and Dr. Fuller. There have been 11 land use forum panels, public hearings, at least 2 community hearings, so many that have brought us to this point. And up to now, up to this year, the Planning Commission was supposed to be, the planning process was supposed to be independent, not political, given to the Planning Commission that represented a diverse part of our community, and they were supposed to handle this, and they were supposed to be autonomous, and the commissioners were not supposed to be involved. And that's been the history in the state of Maryland. We're in a position now where that is not the case because the legislature made a decision just recently. So I want to give credence to the Planning Commission for having gone through that. These are citizens who have regular jobs, who have given their time and who have listened to all the experts and participated in all the meetings and heard all of the debate. And there's no reason to indicate that there was not fair debate in all of the meetings in the past. So let's be clear. The number of citizens, both private and corporate, who testified in their testimony, they do not always agree. But that's what we do in our community. We hear from everybody. We listen to all the different views, and then we come up with a decision. And that's what good leadership is. And it's not clean. Sometimes it gets a little messy, but that's what we do in a democracy. And so I commend the citizens who've come out so far and who have contributed and understand that I do not support a complete rewrite at this point of the comprehensive plan. Especially at the 11th hour, I really think that is ill-advised as leaders that we do that. And so many things have come up, and some of the proposals that have been proposed are illegal, ill-advised, short-sighted, and only geared to appease to a small segment of our community. And for that, I apologize. I think we owe our community better, but you get what you get. And I want to if I hadn't said it already, I want to commend the Planning Commission for your dedication. It's not an easy job. And I think that's all I needed to say. And so after the public process, there were a couple things that were brought to my attention that I thought needed to be brought up for consideration among my colleagues. And I'm going to say just a couple of them. Now, I remember Ms. Katie Kremmelmeyer mentioning that there ought to be a mention about the broadband, more emphasis on broadband in the plan. And since then, I've asked staff about it, and they have mentioned that it's pretty much addressed. It's very well addressed, and they've advised that perhaps just mentioning that we want to make sure that broadband is a part of our plan, our infrastructure as we go forward. So I am going to concede to staff's recommendations, and that is what I would like to do at this point. Secondly, Mr. Hancock mentioned from the Farm Bureau that we were the only jurisdiction that did not have a specific ag marketing specialist. And, I thought about that, and I recommended to staff that perhaps we need to make sure we include that in our plan. Staff's recommendation was give us instruction to move forward in that vein. It doesn't necessarily have to be spelled out in the plan. That's correct? That was the recommendation. Okay.
Yes.
So those two things, and lastly, I got to get the wording together. I believe I was persuaded by Mr. Griffith, who mentioned that his family's 1,160 acres on Billingsley was not in the watershed protection area until this recommendation. And he made a compelling argument that it is appropriately in the development district. I made notes about, he's protected on three sides regarding with development, and to pick his area out and to all of a sudden put it in some conservation district, I believe is unfair, and it doesn't fit with our plan in that area, and that is a development district. And because of that, I would ask for that part of the plan to be changed and to have the 1,160 acres taken out of the watershed protection area. Is that the wording? Yes. So those are the three.
Is that a motion?
Well, I think we need to just add that as a proposal, and I believe the procedure today is that it will be added for a vote at a later time. Those are my three concerns, and I just want to thank everybody for being a part of the process.
Thank you. Can I, just for clarification, Commissioner Davis, so I think what I heard, starting with number 3, is that the 1,160 acres, that's actually a proposed amendment to take that out of the watershed
Absolutely.
resource. Okay, that was a proposed amendment. That would be added. On the agricultural marketing specialist, you were satisfied with what the staff had indicated is how that would be addressed.
Yes.
And that's
I am.
not a proposed amendment. That's been addressed.
I believe that's been
That's what I've heard.
I'm going to accept their recommendation that we just mention it as an aside, that it's.
And I also had it in mind too.
Okay, right, and I looked that up because that did come up at the hearing, and it does talk about marketing and so forth. And I think what we discussed is, if that's something we want to pursue, I think we do that. And Mr. Malinoff, you can let me know if I'm correct or not. We would handle that through the budget process in terms of providing a slot or for that in the appropriate place. That's where that, if we're talking about a specific position, that would be handled through the budget process, not in the comp plan. Is that, Mr. Malinoff, is that what you understand?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And then the third thing is on the broadband, and you mentioned that you felt that that was adequately addressed in the comprehensive plan based on what staff has told you.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
great. So we're talking about adding one proposed amendment to what's already there. Does anybody else have any other proposed? Yes. Yes.
On Chapter 3, Land Use, Indian Head Tech Park, and the 50 acres with Chapman Forest, I'd like to retain a portion of the Indian Head Science and Technology Park development, both the northern half and a southern 50 acres, it's a blue line on a map, as employment, industrial land use, and current planned employment.
Okay.
Park zoning, while allowing the remainder of the IHSTP to be changed to the watershed conservation. So I'm asking for a compromise to save half of it for the airport
Okay,
as economic development
great. Okay, so that's a proposed.
in the future.
Perfect. Okay, so that's another proposed amendment. Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any other proposed amendments at this time?
I have a
Yes,
question.
yes, Commissioner Davis, sure.
So the current plan before us, I thought the current plan before us has the airport in the conservation area. It removes all of the airport support. I thought it was just the opposite.
No, it does. The plan recommended by the Planning Commission has the land around the airport in its current designation in 2006 plan as industrial and employment uses. But one of the proposed amendments is to remove that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
But the most recent proposed amendment is to compromise on that, from what I'm hearing Commissioner Ritchie say. That's
Just for the Indian Head Science and Tech Park. The other land around the airport, there's
right,
other
that's
land that would be
separate.
affected.
That is a separate issue. Okay, great. Good. All right, any others? Does anybody have any other proposed amendments at this time? All right, great. Thank you very much.
May I ask a question for clarification?
Sure.
Proposed amendment, we have it newly numbered now, 25 is the 1,160 acres taken out of watershed conservation. Staff, if I understood Mr. Ball, planning staff's recommendation was to keep most of the site out of watershed conservation, but to assign the stream valley of Port Tobacco River headwaters a land use of watershed conservation. Is your proposal to have the entire 1,160 acres removed from watershed conservation, or is it to align with staff's recommendation, which is to keep the majority of that 1,160 acres out of watershed conservation with the exception of the Port Tobacco River headwaters? Do you understand what I'm...
I think so, yeah. I mean,
Well, I can answer that.
Okay.
I welcome the discussion on it, so I'm going to stick with removing the entire
The full.
1160, and hopefully we'll get to a compromise somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Great.
So
Thank
if
you.
that's all of the
Yep.
proposals,
So-
then I'll go through the list and ask for motions. Excuse me. So is there a motion to amend the 2016 draft comprehensive plan?
Excuse me. Can we just take maybe a 5-minute break, please?
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll get started on that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.